We'll try. This is the end of the roll, so maybe I come out.
Somehow I thought people say, "Oh, guys, it's free. What do we
Thank
want?"
you.
Whatever you want.
I don't think it's another opportunity. If we do that, you will have those two friends.
Can I do that?
Yeah, no.
They cannot get the
Emmanuel came back and said, "Well,
Yeah.
now,
I don't
I'm starting to..."
Gentlemen. Bill? Right this way.
What is
But
it?
Christian is so funny. I mean, I wish I had a half hour to tell some domino stories. But he was definitely going back to France in 1974.
Yes, of course. I
And
wrote the report for the museum and so on. I still,
Do you have a good individual shot?
now, do you want to sort of position us a little bit, and we'll just maybe 10 minutes. We'll.
You're fine.
Can you go for it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think if Gene would pull in a little bit, I'll get it. I don't know. I mean, it could be as casual as... How, when are you going back?
You're a rare commodity.
Monday?
You can just sit down.
that's fine. I'll just
Yeah.
come
Well, so you'll just take a individual shot.
Ah.
All right, thank you.
Can you stay a little more? You have to catch a plane then.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very profound. He has to catch a plane. And now I'm going to ask, what time?
2 o'clock.
Oh, okay. So you won't miss it. So we thought we'd just take 10 minutes and, I don't know, what are you doing right now? First of all, where do you live?
I live in San Diego. Actually, Encinitas.
Really? I'll come and visit. And are you still doing research?
No. You're right, you don't write a book.
No.
No, you should.
I'm enjoying my leisure.
Actually, probably Jerry Siegel will probably transcribe your remarks and do something with it.
It's on video.
And we want to be sure to get a copy of Dr. Kleitman's lecture. I'm going to tell the story that I didn't get to tell because of the time, but when I got married, I mean, do you remember this? When I got married, socially he hadn't really noticed me. And so he realized I was married. He said, "Oh, you must come and have dinner. And do you play bridge?" And I was so paralyzed, I said, "Yes." But I didn't play bridge at all. I said, "Fine. Saturday night, which is 7 days away, we'll play bridge." And then I spent, I guess, almost every waking hour learning to play bridge. Fortunately, my wife played very well and could teach me. And then when Saturday night came, we went to dinner. We had borscht. I don't know if you did that. But I remember Professor Cho commenting on the borscht. But then gods were good to me. I got cards that played themselves. And he didn't have a clue that I was such a novice. And we've played many times since.
Professor Boyd mentioned the bridge in your talk.
Well, I didn't get a chance to, but I made up for it now. But
You're not having to say more even.
no, well, I'm sure there weren't. Bridge players are dying out. I think. You play bridge?
No.
And I'm sure you don't play bridge.
I don't.
No.
No, but my wife, my children.
Really? Oh, must come and play bridge with me.
Yeah.
So,
The smaller one.
you commented on, you have many more years.
Right.
What are your plans?
Well, I still plans to work at least up to ish, like the end of 78. 98. That's three more years. Then I can work if they don't put me out.
Yeah.
Well,
I can write as a book.
I wanted to say something before, but there was no time.
This is great.
Time.
Okay.
But I was going to make a comment that I wrote a paper, I think it was in the 60s. This was really not science, but I wrote about the number of publications on sleep and on REM from various countries. And it was rather surprising that a tremendous amount of activity before 1960 from France and from Germany and from Italy. But there's one country that significantly produced absolutely nothing here on rent sleep, nothing. And that was the Soviet Union. I thought it was ironic because I understand Dr. Feitman was born in Russia, and both of my parents came from a city called Samara on the Volga. And so they
Was
came,
it Russia or Ukraine?
my parents came from Russia. I'm not sure about that.
You said Bessarabia, or what?
Yeah,
Bessarabia?
No, that's close to, that's near
it
Romania.
used to be
Yeah.
Turkey.
Oh, that's right.
and Russia.
And what? Now it belongs to Romania? No? Bessarabia?
Well, it's certainly next to Romania.
It's next to Romania.
Well, it was traded back and forth. When Hitler was there, he took it away from Russia and gave it back to Romania. And while you could use it, the Russians came and took it back.
Well, I don't think I had it quite straight when I said you left Bessarabia and you went to Turkey, I think I said. I'm not sure that was right.
That's right.
Beirut was in Turkey at this time.
Ah.
Beirut was in Turkey.
I went to
Beirut,
Beirut.
Beirut belonged to the Turkish Empire at this time.
And then
As all
Turkey declared war.
how most of the
Russia became
villages.
a prisoner of war.
Oh, are we getting it? He
After the
became a prisoner of war.
On the other hand, the Turks couldn't get me because the American university was like a private,
Like
you know,
an embassy.
like port, you know.
Yeah.
So nobody could get in there, you see. And then when I had to leave, at that time there was an American cruiser in the Mediterranean. Of course, had a name of Des Moines. Des Moines the next monks in French. Anyhow, they came to, what was that great statue there?
Statue? Not, you mean in Turkey?
No, on an island in the Mediterranean.
Rhode Island.
Well, anyhow, the American cruise came to Beirut and took some of these Russian prisoners, so to speak, into the, and then dropped them in that would have a statue in Beirut in the top. And there, from there I went to Athens, and from Athens I came to New York.
Yeah. Did your parents, your mother stayed in Russia? Or your mother lived with you before she died, I know that. But when did she come to the United States?
Several years later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And did you?
And the point is, when we left Beirut to go to the Russian consulate, I had to have my baggage examined to see there's no contraband or military bag in there. So we went through, and I couldn't find my ticket to my suitcase. So I was ready to have it broken open. And the man said, pass a coin to the fellow who was looking at it, and let you pass and say this. Just how much they protected the country.
I wanted to ask Gene about when you had your thesis exam, because I remember mine, and it was the subject was a little bit, not a little off the beaten path, I think is the best.
No, I had no problem whatsoever with the thesis. It went so smoothly. It was wonderful. But one thing here, I'm looking at relationships. There's a remote one between Professor Jouvet and myself. I just found out that I was surprised to hear him say he was in the Maquis, which is the French underground, and I was with the OSS forces, and I flew over France, supplying the Maquis. That was our main function.
With parachutes.
Yeah, right.
We get some of the machine guns, and we get very strange mortar with, what is it, very dangerous to use.
Well, I know what you received because I was on the other end. I'll tell you what else you received. You received a whole bunch of condoms. You didn't see that come down, did you? It was in there.
We received a stranger, now I remember the name, it was a Piat. He was British made. It was with a ressort, working with a, you know, you put a, it did not work, it was
Churn?
to
To make butter?
something which goes like this, push it like this, you know, so it does not make noise. But
Yeah.
it does not go very far. So when we tried to attack the German convoy with this, of course it did not make noise, but one of the, when it exploded, it was very far, and all the German get out, and it was very dangerous. Possibly it could go only to 50 meters. Then we saw.
Where were you when
I
the
want to ask you something.
Where were you when the war ended?
Where were you?
Where were you when the war ended? When Germany surrendered? Do you remember?
I was in jail. I was in jail for misconduct during, well, I can't tell you.
But this is an interesting new facet of your life. So.
So my career in the army, I was servant, and in fact I was back to the French army in the Alps. Then we'll go in occupation in Italy, then we went to occupation in Vienna. Then this is where I get to jail, because when I was in guard, I had an affair with a girl, and came as a general. Oh, my goodness. I was kissing the girl, I put my gun, you know, and then I escaped. My goodness. I was on the court martial. Court martial. 1 month too.
Yeah.
So,
After all this, you weren't in a German jail. You were in a French.
Well, let's see. Do you have any stories from Long Beach?
then, if I remember, when I was with Tokizan in the same,
But weren't you much more liberal then than you are now, politically?
politically, I am much more liberal now.
You're more liberal now?
Oh, I think so.
Wow.
But, yes.
Well, I have a vivid memory.
I get out from this left things well, before 60
Yeah, because you came to Stanford to
You
visit
know why
me,
we're sitting here?
and Frank Morello came to dinner, and he had a red shirt. And he said,
Why
Michelle,
are we
I'm
sitting
wearing
here?
this red shirt just for you.
You mean the photograph?
Oh,
You've been doing it for half an hour now.
No, I just-
Cotton is asking good questions.
what was that?
Why are we sitting here?
Oh, we're being videotaped for posterity. But what has posterity ever done for us? Well, we're good. I was going to ask you, where were you when Germany surrendered?
I was in, of all places, Chateau Thierry. Is that how you pronounce it? Chateau,
Yeah,
wow.
Chateau Thierry. Yes. That's where I was. Not far from Paris.
Yeah.
Were you single then?
No, I was married.
Uh-huh.
I was married.
But you were flying with those planes?
Yes.
Oh, that was wonderful
Yeah.
sometimes.
But I didn't drop down with the parachute. I still stayed up there.
Well, it's lucky you all survived. Now, would REM sleep have been discovered if none of us had existed? None of the four of us. What do you think? Oh. Huh?
Yeah.
You think so?
Some it was known, the point is, didn't know why it was there. I mean, it was just,
Well, I
didn't
just,
discover REM sleep, it was there all the time.
I was actually challenged sometime in that period. People said the electrodes did something and caused the eyes to move. And so, yeah, and that's why we took the movies, one, and then I did a study in the hospital looking at eyes like everyone else did to see them and record, make notes so that I could prove that, yes, it happens even when there aren't uncomfortable electrodes attached. Yeah. Did you have the experience? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think we should have one question that we should answer very frankly. Do you believe, you start telling me, do you believe that REM sleep is related with dreaming?
You want a yes or no, or can I?
You can elaborate.
I think that that REM sleep is associated with dreaming. It's certainly associated with dream recall. I think it's associated with dreaming, and but that it is not directly associated with visual imagery.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Professor Kleitman.
Do you believe REM sleep is dreaming sleep?
Well, the dreaming occurs during that time.
Well, I'm actually glad you asked that question because
Originally, when it was first developed, because we were not there, the idea was to look around to see, locate enemies and run away from them, local prey and grab it and eat it. So that was the idea. But we were moving so fast you couldn't really examine things properly or see what it was like.
right,
So it was gradually abolished. But it wasn't abolished during the sleep because people didn't know anything about it. There was nothing to correct them. You wouldn't know your eyes are moving.
yeah,
So that was left unabolished because there was no way of knowing it was there. Did you know your eyes move when you were...
no, I had no idea.
And Bill, what do you
Well,
think?
I'm glad you asked because I had a medical student. I finally wanted to experience this phenomenon myself. I had made an attempt at Manteno State Hospital, sleeping next to a schizophrenic, and unfortunately I was probably too anxious and uncomfortable to go to sleep. But I had a medical student come who volunteered to stay up all night and awaken me when my eyes were moving. I only had a little time to show him. So he awakened me, and I didn't remember anything. Oh well, it was early in the night. So he awakened me again. I didn't remember anything. Blank. Awakened me a third time. I didn't remember anything. Fourth time. And now I started to get upset. Didn't remember anything. So one more try. And I had one last REM period, I guess, or that's what I thought. He awakened me, no dream. And I was so upset, I actually confabulated a little dream because I was so embarrassed because I had recruited this guy. But I went out, then looked at the records, and these were not REM periods at all. They were just K complexes.
Oh.
You know, so these are all non-REM awakenings. And then the next night, he knew by this time what REM sleep was. He awakened me. The dream recall was just incredible. And I thought there's never been a more biased subject, and yet I still couldn't do it. So that was kind of an epiphany that it underlies my very strong belief that REM sleep is dreaming sleep.
May I amend my statement?
Sure.
I'll support it, not amend it. I'll support it in that if the REM were really associated with visual imagery, then one would expect that the motor characteristics of the REM would be equivalent to that of a waking saccade. But our studies show that that was not the case, that they were radically different. Forgetting the jerkiness of things, we found that one was a ballistic movement and the other was a non-ballistic movement. They're radically different. Although to the naked eye, they look quite similar.
Yeah.
They're quite different, and so that does not support.
I think we should find out.
Yeah.
What do you believe?
Well, I strongly believe it is associated with dreaming because we get three more information. We get the lucid dreamers. We can tell when they mean that they are in. No? We get the so-called behavior disorder when people try to kill their wife. It's always going possible without getting. But I would agree with you that few, if it is in the cat, as in the cat, there are a lot of rapid eye movements which are stochastic. But sometimes there are other eye movements which probably are related with the visual imagery. That means you cannot refuse all of them. Some of them are really like waking eye movements. And when we call them AMP. But I strongly believe. So my problem is there are so many reports now from the Italian and many groups that they get so many dreams recorded from slow sleep that I still don't know. So this is very important because everybody says for consciousness you need the so-called 40 hertz in the cortical. Now if it is true that you are dreaming during stage 3 and 4, This is extraordinarily important.
Well, when was the last time you were a subject and tested your dream recall in the laboratory, being awakened in REM and non-REM?
I've never been a subject for this.
You are kidding.
Was my wife, who was Danielle.
All right, who's got a sleep lab?
Close by.
You've never done it?
No, not
Well,
awakened.
the
No.
revelations we're getting
No,
here.
I awakened subject, but I was not because I cannot sleep in the lab. I'm very bad sleep.
We have equipment we can bring into your home.
I have
These days of
stage
ambulance
3 and 4, I have a poor sleep.
Get a grant to go to France.
Well, Dr. Gervais, you say that you're associating the eyewitness with the dreaming of the cats. That's
Yes.
right. There's some of them, right.
Yeah.
But I have this one question I have to raise because my friend Dr. Arantes, a Brazilian, has brought this up. How do you know that cats are dreaming without getting a report from them?
Because of so-called oneric behavior. When you remove they move, they look, they chase mice, they take things like
Yeah, we understand the motor activity
Yeah,
is there,
of
but
course.
how do you know that
I
the thought process?
I totally agree that we should do this in the parrots. At least it could tell us. But why not? Parrots and or those monkeys and washoe saying you can speak with them.
Yeah. Oh, I have a funny story. I guess we were going to do this with Coco, the gorilla,
Yeah,
because she could do sign language. The idea was to wake her during a REM period and then say you could say what's going on. And so a student volunteered to do the study, and he was learning sign language, and we were going on and said, well, now he has to meet Coco. And so the student or the graduate student who had Coco was named Penny Patterson, and we were in the yard with the gorilla and the three of us, and Penny and I sort of got to talking and kind of just forgot about the student and the gorilla, and apparently she went over and she was trying to take his pants off. And what I saw is his face went white. And, he could have been made impotent in a second. So he didn't want to have anything more, so we never did finish the experiment. But it's a good idea. But I think that in some ways this question, there's still some loose ends and so on. But we must do something about this gap in your life. I must have been awakened, I don't know, several hundred times.
No, but I have 6,000.
Why are we here?
This is Admiral Stockdale.
There is cake here, actually.
No,
now.
Papa, they're filming. They're making a videotape for history.
For posterity.
Yeah.
But how long did it take?
Well, let's say we're almost done.
Almost done.
Yeah. Well, listen, that was good. Now, let's go with one more round of, do we think REM sleep has some special function?
Can I change the question?
All right, sure.
Okay. Does sleep have a special function? I don't think
There's
so.
a function whatsoever. Just
No function?
a leftover which was not bothered because they didn't need a monitor. Did you not have to sleep? Nobody
Okay, maybe you should.
It has a function that we don't yet understand. But maybe not. That's why we are not physiologists, because we are studying a phenomenon which still has no function. So we cannot say that we are physiologists, but I'm sure that it has a function.
You see for half an hour.
Well, it's been,
And you, what do you mean is the function
I go back and forth, but I think that it has some very important function in, tuning the brain in some way, but related to mood, related
Is
to
it related with the past or is it related with the future?
both.
I think they were asking about the function of dreaming. Does dreaming have a function?
You should. Are you in any of the pictures?
No, but I just wanted to clarify that in case you wanted to say
Well, it's very
anything
definite. It
about
has no function.
whether dreaming has a
Yes,
function.
yes, no function.
Just is destined to learn how to determine the length of dreams and the composition of dreams.
At any rate, it's 2 to 2, and so that's definitely unsettled.
No, it's not also, I agree. For sleep, I would say that sleep should have some function related with energetic movements.
Well, I did a study, a literature study, no literature study, examining the amount of sleep on various species, and found that there was a definite relationship between the amount of sleep and whether or not the animals were born with their eyes open or closed. And I concluded that the relationship of the sleep duration had to do with the maturation of the nervous system, and therefore because you would get animals as diverse, let's say, as a tiger and a cat, which have behavioral characteristics that are quite similar. One is born with the eyes open, and the other is born with the eyes closed. Right.
Tigers have eyes open?
Yes, Bengal tigers are born with the eyes open, and this I found in a number of several of them, and therefore the correlation I saw was that the relationship, being born with the eyes open is highly significant because that's related to the maturation of the nervous system. It's one of the embryological signs of development, and at any rate, that's
okay. Now, if you are right, the mole has no eyes, and he has a lot of REM sleep. It has a lot of REM sleep.
No, talk about
No?
total sleep.
Total sleep.
Total sleep, not REM sleep. REM sleep, I could get no
total sleep.
I could get no correlation on REM sleep.
I wanted to ask you, Gene, one question, because you sort of touched on this and you talked about when you realized that this noise represented rapid eye movements. Was that like a moment almost?
Was it a moment? You mean a eureka? I found it.
You were sort of wondering, struggling?
No, because when I saw this electronic noise, and after all, the electronic noise came through the electrooculogram, so I was looking for eye movement, and I could recognize many deflections that looked like eye movements, but how could I be sure?
So, but it was the moment then when you saw
when I saw them.
When you saw them in the
When I
room.
saw them, then I knew that they were fast eye movements.
Know that and connected with dreaming.
Yeah.
That's nothing new. That was previously reported.
Well, no, I don't
Not
think
true.
so.
Yes, it's like in the literature.
I disagree.
Well, there's some ambiguous statements about eye movements. I know Hebb made one, and
All right, let's talk about Ladd and others.
Ladd,
Yeah. What they speculated was that there were eye movements associated with dreams. They speculated that, but they didn't recognize. None of them recognized that there was such a thing as a fast eye movement or a rapid eye
Waiting
movement.
for.
Dan here,
Okay.
Dan had a little page in his talk which you didn't print, but this kind of, I think, sums it up about the previous observers.
I know that.
No, I know, but you didn't mention that in your talk.
Read that page.
That's not,
well, it was the issue of slow eye movement, fast eye movement, jerky eye movement.
The association with dreaming, their association of dreaming was with slow eye movements, and because they were talking about recognizing eye movements as they were falling asleep. Well, you don't have rapid eye movement when you fall asleep unless you have special circumstances.
If you remember, there was a paper before the war of Max with the fingers movement in the deaf people.
Yeah.
But this was not confirmed after. But he said that he could find during sleep they would have a sign movement. I think he recorded the EMG.
Yes.
And he said it might be dreaming. But the same study was done maybe 20 years ago, and they did not confirm. Do you remember Max?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Was it a man from Chicago, from your...
Was it Jacobson?
No, Edmund Jacobson
You tried to do
was,
something?
no, he was with progressive relaxation. And he also had no...
what happens to the real cake?
I'd say this has been a historic session. I'm very grateful to all the participants. We all are. Gene Azarinsky, Nathaniel Kleitman, Michelle Jouvet. Wonderful people.
Yeah. So, next,
May your futures be wonderful.
we have wonderful people around.
So let's get some cake. Now we'll have some cake.
Goodbye.
Very much.
Goodbye. You should come again. You should come again to Lyon. Stay always in Lyon.
The parachute. Listen, it was wonderful.
Good talking to you.
Fantastic.
And I hate to run like this. I had no idea that there was a reception afterwards. I messed up. But
Stan has some
I
birthday
can't
cake.
really.
Your talk made it all worthwhile.
I think Dr. Clinton's daughter want a picture with you.
Yes.
We want to take a picture of you and your daughter, Daddy, and us.
Yeah, I'll be sending a picture. I have a student giving a talk outside. I go to it, but I'm really glad you came.
Well, it's a lucky start for me that.
Well, you know, having them.
It was really an honor for me to get to know you even a little bit and talk to you.
Go backwards.
Things go well for you. I'll send you pictures and stuff. Of course, any any receipts you have, make sure they get sent in if there's any problems.
Two slide projectors going But you got it. You got it. You got it. That's great.
Yeah, but it's got to be transcribed.
Bill, you want to get in? Want me to take it?
That'll be wonderful. What about Dr. Gervais? Dr. Gervais, need you. And Jerry Siegel, come on.
Well, listen, the same.
Historic picture with all subjects and
Great idea.
only Dr. Gervais has not slept.
Stay together. Okay, 1, 2, one more. Smile. Thank you.
Why do we have to smile?
Because they're happy.
Oh, I don't know.
Chocolate, anything.
Oh,
You want to sit down?
well, maybe I'll be contacting you for that picture because of that.
Well, that was great because I know it's a little awkward.
A long time ago, yeah. It's too clever to get time.
Oh, you would. No, I was
I worked at Clever.
Well, you know,
How many hours we've got ideas?
Professor Clinton, happy birthday. Many, many more. You go home here. A few more. Okay. Some guy that talked about